Each year when the Texas legislature convenes, there are a certain number of legislators who begin to talk about a public defender system in the state to replace the court-appointed attorneys. Well, Dallas District Attorney Henry Wade told me on News 8 at noon today that he's primarily opposed to that system. He says the manpower and money always seem to get out of control with those, and he cited California, where the budget is now $4 to $5 million. I asked that with many people being highly opinionated on the value of Dallas Legal Services project and their reluctance to admit that these court-appointed attorneys are really interested in them, are these people being fairly represented? District Attorney Henry Wade also said these attorneys who are appointed by the court and work for $50 to $100 a day are, for the most part, the same attorneys that would be hired to handle these cases. From the Dallas County Courthouse, this is Jim Mitchell, Channel 8 News on the Move.
We did a long series of studies of possible alternatives. We came to the conclusion that, having been in Fort Worth for some 17 years now, that for the happiness of our employees, their efficiency, the avoidance of complicated traffic problems, school problems, that it made sense just to stay right here where we have essentially built this company. All of our people like the friendliness of Fort Worth, the availability of cultural facilities that are equal to anywhere else.
Well, KKK was such a vicious organization with 6 million members back in the late 20s that this organization was founded, that's true, to combat the sort of hate that they were spewing out. And there are all kinds of crazy hate movements in this country today. I think the Black Panthers are an example of violent, blind hatred that has no place in this country. In fact, any sort of violence that comes out of any group has no place in this country, and that's what really we're in business for, is to combat this sort of hate and violence, and to try, through dialogue, discussion, education, and every other communicative means at our disposal, to get people together, talking to one another, and understanding each other's viewpoints.
While cities all around Dallas are swearing in city councilmen today, Dallas is still wondering who the next mayor will be. A council committee met today to canvass the vote from yesterday, and after that the entire council met to approve the canvass. The only variation from routine was George Hughes, who showed up to serve formal notice to councilmen that he would ask for a recount in place 3. Hughes drew 31% of the ballots in that race, while Doug Fain picked up slightly more than 50%. Hughes says a minor accounting error could throw that race into a runoff.
There have been several people notified me that they feel, and again, they have not brought proof to me and put it on the line, but they feel that there may have been errors in several of the accounting booths, honest errors, in transposing the votes from the tally machine, or from the machine to the tally sheets, I should say. These errors can happen anytime with anybody. And out of 60-some-odd thousand casts, we're talking about around 700. And 700 is approximately 0.6% of the total votes cast last evening in place 3.
Do you have specific booths or polling places?
I'd rather not go into specific booths at this time because, as I said, I don't have the specific charges or anything. In fact, I'm not making any charges.
There will be a runoff for the mayor's seat anyway. Wes Wise and Avery Mays will face each other April 20th for the final decision. Another candidate in that race, Albert Lipscomb, has said he'll protest the count, but city officials say that since Lipscomb drew only 5,000 of the 76,000 total votes cast, his protest can't affect the runoff. The new council will be sworn in May 3rd here in the council chambers in Dallas. This is Phil Reynolds, Channel 8 News on the Move at the Dallas City Hall.
A lot of people are going to be very busy in Fort Worth dismantling billboards and peeling off bumper stickers. Observers are telling each other, that's the way I called it. But they're not saying it very loud because very few insiders felt the election would turn out exactly the way it did. To begin with, nobody really felt that Sharkey Stovall would beat Tommy Thompson as thoroughly as he did. In place 6, folks sort of expected a runoff between Leonard Briscoe and Dick Salinas. History shows that one wasn't even a horse race. But as the new council took the oath of office this morning and took their seats around the council table,
they found themselves faced with a number of problems, finding a new city manager chief among them. The glitter is over. For 2 years, the new government will be more concerned with ecology than with endorsements, with garbage rather than glory, and with buses rather than billboards. Jay Lewis, Channel 8 News on the Move, Fort Worth.
Arkansas Congressman David Pryor is listening to testimony here at the National Association of Retired Teachers as well as the American Association of Retired Persons meeting here in Dallas today. They're telling about terrible conditions in nursing homes. It was supposed to be concerning Medicare as well as other problems, but primarily nursing homes. Congressman Pryor has been trying to get a House Committee on Aging to be the counterpart of the Senate Committee on Aging. He hasn't had much luck so far, but he's still pitching. Let's listen to some of that testimony.
I witnessed an elderly patient, a man, that was restrained in a chair and slapped and beaten because he was hungry, only asked for something to eat.
You saw this with your
I
eyes?
surely did.
How long ago did this occur?
About a year and a half ago.
I saw things that I couldn't believe. There were roaches all over, crawl over the walls. I'm sure in bed, all in the closets, all of the clothes in the drawers. I don't believe they bothered to shampoo the carpeting. It was always filthy.
On the state level, your senators and representatives, and
on the national level, excuse me.
Well, on the national, well, we won't ever get anything done if we get it done on the national level. But we will try to get a law in the state of Texas changing some of the rules and regulations under which commercial nursing homes operate.
What is the largest problem that is facing you today?
Well, I think the same problem that's facing this country, the problem of national unity. We're a very diverse country, and we have many diverse groups within that country. And now they seem to have polarized to some extent in their little camps together and fighting with each other. And this is true racially, but it's also true ethnically and I think to some degree interreligiously, although we've made a lot of progress since we started 42 years ago.
We need wiretap legislation. We need it with guidelines that will be controlled so that it will not be indiscriminately used. In Dallas, as far as organized crime as defined by the FBI as La Cosa Nostra, or organized crime as it's known, when you speak of organized crime to the public, their conception is of the mafia and these. Probably in the areas of gambling, we have some organized crime here. Our organized crime, the betting, is taken care of to a degree when you start laying off on lines.
Well, the new rail pack system is designed entirely to assist the railroads in the operation of intercity passenger trains. It has absolutely nothing to do with freight service or commuter passenger service.
Can passenger service sustain the railroads? Wally Schirra notwithstanding.
Definitely not. Penn Central last year lost $130 million in the passenger business.
We will be a catalyst to know what each other is doing, to coordinate efforts, to meet gaps of activity if there are any in the community, to set standards and to inform the various members. The membership list of organizations will be increased. We have more who want to come in, and their boards are yet to act on it, but we look forward to that. And we think that we'll be an exciting force for upgrading what needs to be upgraded to deal with this problem in our community.
Well, that was the second time that Michel Echambeau was trying to give me a pass, from his left side. And the first time the pass was a little too short. And the second time the pass was right on my stick. And I looked up ahead of me and I saw the defenseman coming at me. So I made the move to my left and I went to my right. And then I saw the goalie coming out, so I just went to my left and that was it. I had the goalie beat and everybody beat.
Have you ever had a breakaway that meant this much before?
I think I had some breakaways before, but that was one of the biggest goals I ever had in my career so far, my young career.
How many goals have you scored for the Hawks this year?
Oh, this year I've scored 15 goals this year, and 2 in the playoff already in the final against Omaha.
You're kind of a wiry type of hockey player. Do you have to have rest in a series, or do you think this is to your advantage going, say, almost half the month of April?
Well, I don't think I need a rest because I've rested most of the year this year. I've only played 31 games, and I've been hurt quite a bit, and I'm not in shape yet, in good shape. And I need to practice and play a lot to get back in good shape as fast as I can, But I don't think I need a rest anyway.
How do you feel Omaha played last night?
I think they played pretty well. They played better than they did in Omaha. But I guess we deserved a break last night. We didn't get the break in Omaha, and we did last night. So I guess we deserved that game last night anyway.
What do you think they're going to come back at you Saturday night? Just a good, hard, tough checking hockey?
Oh, it's going to be hard checking and fast skating. It's going to be this. That's the way they play all the time, and it's going to be a pretty tough series. So all the way down the wire.
Coach, how do you feel your club played last night?
I thought we played very well, and actually both clubs were tremendous. It was probably the best game of the year. There was excitement for both teams, and it was too bad or unfortunate we had to lose, but they scored a great goal, and I think they should be proud of their effort too.
You're going to continue the same type of attack that you have in the past?
Yes, definitely. This is our asset, our skating, and if we're skating, we can outplay the opposition, and we skated well enough to win. In fact, I think in the last minute of the third period, we had the game wrapped up right there. We had 3 very good chances within less than a minute, and your goalie was great and saved the game for Dallas.
Who are some of your outstanding players?
We have a number of outstanding players. I believe our centerman, Morris Stefano, has been outstanding in the series. He's probably one of the better centermen in the league. And also, of course, everybody knows Andre DuPont, our policeman on defense. He's been playing well all year. And then we have a young rookie named Mike Murphy. And if he didn't get hurt for about 2 weeks this year, he definitely would have led the league in scoring. As it was, I think he ended up 4th anyway. But those are a number of the stars we have, but I think every one of them is a star. They proved it to me all year long.
Well, it's been felt, perhaps, that you have the advantage in the long playoff period and the number of games at home. Of course, you deserve to get more than Dallas since you finished on top. What are your thoughts on that?
I like the way the series is set up now, where there's a number of days off between games, because we have a smaller club in Dallas, and it gives us a little more time to rest up between games and shake off some of the bruises.
Good morning, Lance. Will you have any statement at all? Any statement, Lance?
Not now.
How do you plan to plead?
I'll let you find out from the courtroom.
Will you have a statement afterwards?
Yes.
Hey. Very good. No, he's over here. Would you look over here for a minute? Would you look over here for a minute? He won't hurt. Just for a second. Then you can look back at Lance, okay? I know that...
Hello, 1, 2, 3.
Well, the only way that I could see that we would benefit from this would be that the federal distribution or the distribution of federal commodities, and this would be the only portion that I know of, or the only way that we could get that we would be helped. It wouldn't affect our unemployment or the indigent. We are still responsible for this locally.
Then the effect would revolve in the area of commodities and food stamps. To what degree for Dallas County?
Well, this would be just on a limited basis because the new federal plan would assume the responsibility of all of those people that are recipients of the state.
But we would still have our responsibility to some degree at the county level.
That's right. Locally, we would still have the same responsibility. And this would cut out probably about 95% of the food distribution or food stamps, whatever program that the communities are under.
With the government taking over welfare and giving the money to the states, what protection is there for the cities to get their fair share?
Well, actually, any state would still be required under what we're doing on a matching basis to provide social services to the people who are either in what we call the workforce in training or those on welfare. The states or the cities, if they're doing that job, would have to still do that job.
Well, let me just say this. It's been a very trying situation. I'm sure you can all understand that, and it's not my place here to discuss it in any detail. I do want to say that I plan to be working with my doctors until this whole problem is resolved. I promise that to myself and to the people who are concerned. And as for my future right now, I just want to take a couple of weeks off to think about what I want to do from both an immediate and long-range standpoint. I just really haven't thought that much about it until this thing was over with.
Well, let me say first that the program that we're working on in the Ways and Means Committee is not a substitute for revenue sharing. as many, many people have said, it's not our purpose to take over all of the costs of welfare, as some have suggested might be the case. What we're trying to do is to clean up what everyone, I think, on welfare or who pays for it describes as being a mess right now. We want to redirect the whole of it away from a status of idleness and poverty into a status of giving individuals an opportunity to help themselves.
Well, we are going to make a definite effort in that direction, no doubt about it. Mr. Moeller has already come out for me. As I said, South Dallas is next on my list for tomorrow, and I intend to get that vote.
Lipscomb has not come out for you, and there's some speculation his voters might just cop out and not vote at all.
I don't believe so, but I believe that's going to be up to me and up to my family and the way we go and pursue the vote and show the folks in South Dallas how important they are to us. Incidentally, more people from the geographical area of South Dallas came to see me at my Wednesday night meetings here than all other geographical areas combined.
Let me just say this. As I say, I want to take a couple of weeks off to think about it. I haven't even talked with the Cowboys, haven't talked with the commissioner or anybody. I really, as I say, been waiting for this thing to be over with, and I want to think about what I want to do, and then I'm going to meet with them and discuss it from that standpoint. You know, I'm just only sorry that I had to have my family and my wife, who I love very much, suffer through this with me, and that's been a very hard thing for me. And I would like to say that in spite of all the rumors, wild rumors from so-called reliable sources, there have been a lot of people that have supported me, both in letters and calls, and I'd like to thank those people very much. And in special, I want to thank my team, because they stood by me to a man, and I'll never forget that. And it's probably the highlight of my athletic career, and I want to thank them especially, and I feel very close to them, and I feel that they've helped me a lot, and that's really all I can say.
Well, can we ask you what your attitude has been coming up to today? In other words, where you've been and what you've been thinking about?
Well, I've just been thinking about getting this thing over with, and I promised my teammate one thing. You know, I told him I'll be back, and I will.
Determined.
To get that independence and that spirit of Dallas that I've been begging for the past